Hey guys, my name is Gordon, intern at the DSC at UCI, and today we're going to be talking about what is disability studies. Disability studies is a broad interdisciplinary field that uses already existing fields, models, theories, and language to challenge the way that we currently look at disability. And by challenging the way that we look at disability, we can challenge the way that we look at the world. And so some of these fields include philosophy, psychology, sociology, economics, education, humanities, and even computer science and programming and architecture. And there's just so many different fields that we can look at because all of these fields affect people with disabilities. And so we just want to challenge the way that we're looking at disability, and hopefully this will affect the way that we make our policies and affect the way that we think about people with disabilities and treat them in a more equal way. So 3 questions that I would usually ask when trying to use disability studies is, how does this topic view people with disabilities? How does it view people without disabilities? And what can we do to bridge this gap between people with and without disabilities so that we can ultimately have more equal opportunity and representation for people with disabilities? And so even though I haven't specifically taken classes on disability studies, I tried to use it in my classes, such as psychology, education, and humanities. And one specific one was a humanities paper that I wrote about disability studies and the road to Mecca, which was about a woman who was going blind in South Africa. And she was going blind, but a lot of times in a humanities paper, we might treat blindness as a metaphor for something else, such as ignorance or something like that. But I wanted to focus on what are the real implications of blindness and also of the discrimination against blindness, and how could we help these people by giving them more accommodations and giving them more support, instead of just treating it as a metaphor or treating it as a bad thing to be blind. And so that was a really interesting thing for me, to see blindness in a new way and to treat it as an actual disability, but then look at how can society be improved with our way of looking at disabilities. And then I found out that disability studies is actually being taught as a minor, a major, and even a PhD in many different colleges around the US. And so while it's not being taught in specific classes at UCI, it's starting to be taught in as certain sections of the classes. So for instance, in an education class, I learned about inclusive classrooms and how people with disabilities should be treated in classrooms. And I've heard of other students who have taken exceptional learner, and they've said that it was a really interesting class about people with disabilities, and they brought in a student with a who was blind, and they just asked that student about their experiences as a blind student. Another class that I've heard about is Social Ecology 194, which is naturalistic observations, and it's about one of the topics was how can they make the campus more accessible. And they had students walk around the campus and take pictures in order to think about how certain areas of the campus can be more accessible. So hopefully all of this has been an interesting introduction to disability studies, and some videos and movies and TV shows that I think are interesting to think about disability studies with are Daredevil, X-Men, and Into the Dark. These are recent and popular movies and TV shows that include disability in a new way, and not just looking at it as the stereotypical or negative way. But you could also just look at all of the things that you currently read or watch and think about, how is it looking at disability, and how can we change it or challenge it to show disability in a better way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the DSC YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys next time.